As a host of the summit, what excites you most here?
So I actually had a keynote today that I was really excited for and nervous for, as most people are.
Figured, yeah.
It was a lot about the onboarding efforts that the foundation supports and we work with our communities on. So some of them are formalized internships hosted by the Software Freedom Conservancy, the Outreachy program, but I personally work a lot with universities as well. So I put a call out to get to know more universities that are interested in connecting students with various open source projects like OpenStack. And today even I had 2 or 3 different people come up to me that are university professors and that sort of thing. So I'm really excited to keep making those connections and build out those relationships.
Tell us about some important news that the foundation is going to mention this week or already mentioned this week.
Yeah. So I think the most important bit of information that they shared during keynotes yesterday was the launching of the Directed Fund, which is in part of an effort to bring more projects into the foundation. Right now we have, I think, 5 confirmed projects and 1 pilot project, but we're at a point right now that we're looking to grow this wonderful world of open infrastructure, and we're poised and ready to do that.
So what has been most challenging for you since 2.5 years you last convened the OpenInfra Summit in Berlin, I think it was in 2018?
Yeah, so actually it was 2019 in Shanghai was our last summit that we had in person, but we were here in Berlin in 2018. But since then, obviously the pandemic has affected everyone in so many ways that we didn't see coming. In particular, I think the thing that I worked hardest on was the project team gathering, which was historically an in-person event. We had to figure out how to virtualize it and keep it as effective as it is in person, because as a lot of people have figured out, virtual events really aren't as effective as in-person events because you don't get to have those hallway conversations and you don't get to make those in-person connections. So virtualizing the PTG was definitely my biggest struggle. We had to figure out how to coordinate developers from all across the world, and unfortunately the world's not flat and time zones are really hard. So we came up with a system and did some tweaking, but we have been reasonably productive and managed to keep moving forward with OpenStack and our other OpenInfra projects that met at the PTG as well, and continued to build new features and have those technical discussions that we weren't able to have in person. And we've come up with this middle ground until we can go back to in person in Columbus in October, which I'm so excited for.
So what role does the OpenInfra Foundation brings your vision to life?
Well, we are the creators of this sort of model and formalization of this model. So the 3 forces were introduced back in 2015, I think, at the Portland Summit by Jonathan, and we have continued to work on this concept of the 4 opens and them being the guiding principles of all of our projects. So I think that this isn't a thing that other foundations do. They might do some parts of it, but it's really our bread and butter, and it's the core of how we build, host, and foster open source communities. So we're definitely the people to do it.
All right, good to hear. And thanks for your enthusiastic interview. I'm really happy you wanted to do this with us.
Yeah.
And back to the studio.